The marble hallway outside the Dirksen Senate office building's largest hearing room was already a furnace of flashbulbs and shouted questions at 9:12 a.m. on November 23, 2025. The chandeliers overhead flickered like they knew something biblical was coming. Inside room 216, the long mahogany witness table had been reconfigured. One lone chair on the left for the witness, a single microphone, and a stack of black binders the size of cinder blocks. On the right, the raised dais where the House Oversight Subcommittee usually sat had been cleared except for one seat. Representative Jasmine Crockett, Democrat Georgia, legs crossed, blazer the color of fresh blood, eyes locked on the door. The hearing had been called Extremist Rhetoric and the Risk to Public Officials, but everyone in Washington knew the real title. The day someone finally dragged former Navy SEAL sniper turned MAGA Congressman Cory Mills in front of a camera he couldn't mute. The doors swung open. Mills strode in wearing desert tan fatigues under a navy suit jacket, American flag pin the size of a $50, jaw clenched so tight the veins in his neck looked like detonator cord. Cameras fired like machine guns. He didn't smile. He never did anymore. Crockett didn't stand to greet him. She simply adjusted her glasses and said, loud enough for the mic to catch, "Good morning, Congressman. Thank you for finally accepting an invitation you've dodged for 18 months. Mills dropped into the chair with a grunt. "Happy to be here, Congresswoman. Let's get to it." The room went dead quiet. She didn't waste time on opening statements. She just clicked a remote. The massive screen behind her lit up with a freeze frame from January 14, 2025. Mills on the House floor, red-faced, screaming into a hot mic that certain Democratic members should be thankful we're a nation of laws, because in my day we handled traitors differently. The caption beneath the video, pulled directly from C-SPAN, read, "Representative Cory Mills, Republican Florida, suggests political opponents once handled with violence." Crockett let it play on loop for 8 silent seconds. "Congressman," she began, voice low and surgical, "on January 14th you stood 10 feet from where the former speaker was nearly assassinated and implied that people like me should be grateful you're a nation of laws now. 2 weeks later, a man with your campaign sticker on his truck tried to firebomb my district office in Atlanta. He lived. My staff almost didn't. Care to explain the connection?" Mills leaned forward, elbows on the table like he was still behind a .50 cal. "With respect, Congresswoman, you're conflating things. I condemn all political violence. Always have. That young man was mentally ill." "Funny," Crockett said, clicking again. A new clip. Mills on a 2024 podcast laughing about how, back in the teens, we had a simpler way of dealing with people who hated America. The host had replied, "You mean a 168-grain solution?" Mills had winked and said, "Something like that." Gasps rippled through the press row. Crockett turned to the audience. "For the record, 168 grains is the weight of a 7.62 NATO round favored by American snipers. Mr. Mills knows that better than most." Mills' campaign smile was gone. That was locker room talk. Taken out of context. "Locker room talk," Crockett repeated, tasting the phrase like spoiled milk. She clicked again. This time it was a fundraising email from his PAC, sent 3 days after the attempt on her office. "The left wants to silence patriots like Cory Mills. They fear men who speak truth to power. Double your impact today." She let the silence cook him. "Congressman, do you still believe I'm a traitor who hates America?" "I believe you hate certain Americans," he shot back, voice rising. "You called police officers modern-day slave catchers. You said the flag makes you want to vomit. Don't lecture me about rhetoric." Crockett didn't flinch. She reached for the first black binder and slid it across the table like a prosecutor serving an indictment. "Tab 12, please." Mills opened it. His face drained of color. Inside were screenshots of text messages leaked to The Intercept the night before, time-stamped the morning after a pipe bomb was found outside the DNC in 2023. One from Mills to a private Deplorable Vets signal group. "If they come for our guns, we know where they sleep. Lock and load, boys." He stared at the page like it might bite him. Crockett's voice dropped to a whisper that somehow filled the room. "You told a group of armed men you know where Democrats sleep. Then you came on television and cried about stochastic terrorism when someone sent you glitter in the mail. Explain the math to me, Congressman. The room detonated. Reporters were half standing. Phones flashed red with live streams. Mills tried to pivot. Those texts are fabricated. Deep fake bull. Tab 14, Crockett interrupted. A forensic report from a third-party cybersecurity firm, stamped yesterday, confirming metadata authenticity. Signed by former FBI counterintelligence. Mills looked like a man watching his own obituary scroll. Crockett leaned in. You've spent 2 years daring people to try me. You've sold t-shirts that say, Rittenhouse was right. You've called for military tribunals for election officials. And every time someone takes your words seriously, you cry victim. That ends today. She clicked one final time. The screen filled with a photo. Mills at a 2024 campaign rally holding a custom AR-15 engraved with the words, "Come and take it." Next to him, smiling, was the 22-year-old who later tried to assassinate a federal judge in Tampa. The kid had posted the photo on X with the caption, "Training with the best." The room went so quiet you could hear the air conditioning. Crockett turned to the chair of the subcommittee, who had long since surrendered control of the hearing. "Madam Chair, I yield the remainder of my time to the conscience of this body. But before I do, let me say this to every veteran watching who actually served with honor. This man does not speak for you. He never did." She gathered her folders and walked out without waiting for a gavel. Mills sat frozen as staffers rushed the dais, whispering frantically. He finally stood, face slick with sweat, and muttered, "This is a lynching," before storming off camera. Within 90 seconds, #Jasmine Receipts was the #1 trending topic in the United States. By noon it was global. CNN cut straight from the hearing to a stunned panel. Jake Tapper could barely speak. "I've covered Washington 25 years. I have never seen a witness dismantled like that in real time." Fox News went to commercial for 12 minutes, then came back with a cheerin that read, "Democrat ambushes decorated veteran." Sean Hannity's voice cracked when he called it the lowest moment in congressional history. SNBC ran the full 41-minute exchange on loop for 6 straight hours. Joy Reid simply said, "Sometimes poetry is a black woman with a binder." On X, the split was surgical. Blue-check liberals posted slow-motion clips of Mills sweating with captions like, "When the receipts hit harder than a hellfire." MAGA accounts flooded timelines with old videos of Crockett saying, "Defund the police," insisting she had blood on her hands too. Death threats rolled into her office so fast the Capitol Police set up a triage desk. By 8 p.m., Mills had deleted his X account. By 10 p.m., his spokesperson announced he was taking time to be with family. The next morning, the New York Times front-page headline was a single column. A congressman, a sniper rifle, and the texts that ended a career. The Washington Post went with, "The Crockett moment." Conservative outlets circled wagons. The Federalist published, "Why Jasmine Crockett is the Real Threat to Democracy." Newsmax ran a poll. Was Representative Mills treated fairly? 92% said no. But the numbers didn't lie. Fox's primetime ratings cratered 38% that week as viewers flipped to watch the clip again and again on YouTube, where it racked up 120 million views in 4 days. 3 weeks later, Mills announced he would not seek re-election. He blamed coordinated harassment from the deep state. His district flipped blue by 14 points the following November. Crockett never crowed. She just kept showing up to hearings with thicker binders. Cable news quietly updated their booking policies. Producers started asking guests, "Do you have anything in your past that could be used as receipts?" More than one host reportedly answered, "Get Jasmine off my calendar." Think pieces bloomed like mushrooms after rain. The Atlantic called it the Jasmine Standard, when preparation met performance. The Nation dubbed it the day Congress rediscovered spine. 6 months later, at a Howard University commencement address, Crockett told the graduates, "They'll call you angry. They'll call you loud. Let them." Anger is just love that refuses to stay quiet when the house is on fire. The crowd rose as one. And somewhere, in a quiet Florida condo with the blinds drawn, a former congressman and decorated sniper watched the speech on mute. The engraved R-15 he once waved like a prop now locked in an evidence room in Tampa, waiting for trial. History turns on moments like these. One woman, one room, 7 black binders, and the truth too heavy to dodge anymore. If this one gave you chills, drop a comment, share the link and subscribe. They can't hide from the receipts forever.